Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Junkyard Digs. This one has been one you guys specially requested from a prior video, and I'm short on time this week, once again, so we're gonna do it. If you currently recognize where I am, you're a pretty avid viewer of the channel because we were here once for the snowmobile revival that we did last year. Actually, it would have been a year ago right now, but it came out like 6 months later. This is a shed in the middle of town on my buddy Jed's property. The inside of this shed is pretty much an absolute time capsule of like 1950s, 60s farm equipment and machinery. And in the back there is a certain something we're gonna see if we can get running. I don't know how well you can see it, but that right there is a twin-cylinder Maytag engine that has to have been sitting there for at least 40 years. Let's see if we can make it run. Before I walk back there, it's probably worth pointing out this massive, and I mean massive, Wisconsin. This thing is huge. This is a model AHH, or which is pretty appropriate for the size of this damn thing. We got a serial number 719845. The size is 3 5/8 by 4, which is your bore and stroke, and a spec number of 41901. Someone tell me in the comments, what size is this Wisconsin? Because I'm genuinely curious. I believe, unfortunately, at least for today, it is seized. Yeah, it is. Get these cobwebs out of here so I can walk through. I'd rather have them on my arm than my leg. Yeah, got them on my face. Oh, God, that's a lot of cobwebs. Great. Alright, here we are. This is, I don't know a single thing about these. I just know from the last time we were in the shed that this is a twin-cylinder Maytag that spins over. I don't know if it has a carburetor. I don't know if I can find one. I don't know anything. So let's go ahead and dig this thing out of here and see what we got. Don't know what that is. Looks like our kickstart's still here. It looks like it even moves. I'm gonna go ahead and set the camera down because this thing's heavier than I thought. I didn't bring my tripod, but there's this sweet old vise I think I'm gonna be able to use. This thing is awesome. A lot of old tools and bits of machinery and parts and pieces in here, including this old Chevy hubcap. Sweet. Alright, come back for that. Oh boy. Might have to do a little woodwork on this revival. Alright, so here we are. Our motor is uncovered now. I don't know the first thing about these. Like, these are absolutely foreign to me, so we're all going to learn about these together today. Looks like we are indeed missing a carburetor. Kind of looks like it's a common carburetor pattern. I might be able to just get one that works. I believe these are 2-strokes, so we'll have to do mixed gas, but that's fine. I will poke around on that bench and in some other corners, see if I can find that carb. So let's do that. Okay, so unfortunately, no carburetor was found in the shed. Let's get this thing back to the shop, get it cleaned up, see if we got spark, see if we're even gonna have a video today, and move on from there. Alright, so we're at the shop, and we've got this thing sitting here, and a garden hose and a pressure washer and some scraping tools, and we're gonna try to get this cleaned up so we can see what the hell we're dealing with. I don't know what this is. I don't know if it's to this or not. It says to stop, turn left, and it says start run on it. Well, maybe it went on the end of the carburetor and acted as a plug to stop all the air from coming in, because there is no kill switch that I'm seeing. I also don't know where the exhaust goes. I don't know a darn thing about these, but grab a screwdriver, start scraping out the rust, get the gunk, break down the grease, and clean this thing up. Must have been a gearbox above this or something that all the oil fell down onto it. Riveting content here. Yeah, so during the back half of the summer is most of our shows and weekend events, and sometimes we just need a weekend off. So we kind of miss out on the full 5-day schedule to film, put a video out, and it always comes down to like Wednesday, Tuesday, and we're like, oh shit, this needs to be out tomorrow. So I have to apologize. That's why our content has been a little bit different lately, because we've been so damn busy with non-YouTube stuff or car shows and whatnot that we haven't had full weeks to film. So we're kind of doing a little bit of this oddball small engine stuff just because it's fast. And I can still get you guys a video versus no video at all. Plus, some people kind of like this. I mean, it is absolutely more relatable as far as economic reasoning goes, because small engines are cheap, cars are expensive, and big and hard to store. Kind of getting somewhere with this. I think I figured out where this guy goes. He goes right there. I don't know why, but he just do. I've always been really fascinated with old engines like this, old single or dual cylinder, and hit and miss engines. I think hit and miss are some of the coolest goddamn motors that mankind has used. They just sit there and sip fuel and spin massive amounts of metal at huge clearances internally and run forever. I think that's just some of the coolest stuff. I don't know, I guess it's all part of the appeal I have towards just old iron and why we do what we do, which is seeing if we can get old iron up and running again. What the hell is that thing? Oh, I bet this basin's full of oil. Look at me learning. If it's not oil, it's water to keep it cool. I will have to Google it and then we will know. Right, I'm gonna keep scraping at all this stuff, try to get the big stuff off, hit a little bit with a wire brush, and then we'll be back. More junk. Hello. I got all our holes plugged that lead into something important. So we're not going to be filling anything with water. Get all this up in there. Real nice. Obviously I can't film right now, so I'm taking the time to do a little research about this. And I made a bunch of discoveries and realized I was wildly wrong about a few things. So once Mook is done, we'll dive back in. In the meantime, let's go see what she's up to. So yeah, next week this should be out on her channel. I've given Mook the Burnt Nova, and she's gonna build it into something she can drive and have a lot of fun in. So go subscribe to her channel so you can see when that comes out next week. Junkyard Mook, right here on YouTube. That's looks a lot better than I was anticipating. Okay, now that someone's done making all of her noise. Hey. I've done some research on this in the meantime, and I found that right here is a serial number, and right back here is a model number. And what these tell us is that this is a Model 72D made in 1940. I think this is going to be a new record for the oldest thing we've worked on here on the YouTube channel. I've also realized that I was blatantly wrong about a few things. While I was waiting for this to dry, I was looking it over and I realized that this pipe here runs to both cylinders. And I got to thinking, what if that's not a carburetor? What if that's the exhaust and the muffler is just missing? As many times as I've seen these on Marketplace, I've always tried to look and make sure they had a carburetor and they were complete, and it seemed like none of them ever had a carb. So I kind of had an epiphany. I'm like, what if this is the exhaust and this is the carburetor? Or what if this, which just looks to be a screw that seals, is just an air valve and it draws fuel from the basin, which would be the gas tank? And it all kind of clicked. And I'm like, holy shit, I bet that's right. And I Googled it, and it is. You fill this basin with gas tank and then control the amount of air allowed in the engine with this valve. And this essentially controls your fuel mixture and probably veritably your RPM. So we actually have a complete motor. Everything is here. We're good to go. I was actually able to figure this out on my own, so pretty proud of that one. You're shaking your head like, God, I wish you'd just shut up. If I spin this around on our Tang Tools box, we can get a look at the starter mechanism right here, the kickstart, and you can see that it just barely engages into these teeth. and it's not returning on its own, and it's having a lot of troubles. I looked this over for a little while, and I think that this whole shaft actually needs to be farther in to where these align perfectly. Could be wrong, but I'm looking at the spaces here, and the space left over here, and some other things. I'm like, I think that's how that's supposed to be. So I think step one is get this probably out entirely, go clean it up, clean up the bore, grease everything up, and reinstall our Kickstarter. So let's get that done.
I got it.
Oh yeah, nice and rusty. Take that over to the wire wheel and we'll clean that up, and then I'll get some brushes and clean all this up, and we should have a properly working kickstart. Alright, our kickstart is cleaned up. Last step is to put this cheap Chinese clip that I have in my toolbox on here and hold that in place. We'll be good to go. It's not perfect, but you know, what is in this garage? So now that we have a way to spin this over, let's see if we have any spark. This is kind of fun. A lot easier than working on a full-size car. A lot less going on, much simpler. I can put it on top of my toolbox, which is amazing. I'm enjoying this small engine stuff. I hope you guys are too. Let me know down in the comments. Are you liking the small engine content? Do you want to see more? I've got plenty more if you do. What's up, Stinky? I'm about to get hicked up. Oh, just a hug. Oh, well, thank you, Stinky. Alright, let's pray to the Lord so we have spark. I can't see anything, so I'm going to be a brave man and hold this. Oh, that was terrifying. I didn't feel anything. Like, yeah, I didn't feel anything, but shit. Nothing. This one? No spark. Okay. I'm assuming there's magnetos, maybe even some points or something in here, so let's go ahead and take this flywheel cover ordeal fan McGee off and see what's going on inside, because I have no idea. Nice and gentle now. We did it. Got a 2-piece pulley. Comes right off. Okay, bingo, that's exactly what I was hoping to see. We got ourselves a massive magneto. We have ourselves a set of points that is going to be corroded and going to cause no spark. So, also on top of that, I also need to dry this out really well because it's full of water. So, we'll let all this dry, clean these points, make sure everything in here is properly gapped, and then test for spark again. Man, I'm so relieved to see that. All right, now that I have everything clean and dry, I'm going to get some sandpaper on these points and try to clean these little buggers up. I've used points files before, and some of them just suck and they don't do the job as well as sandpaper. So I don't know what's up with that, but I still prefer this over a points file. Call me weird. Assuming that this has not lost its magnetic charge, or the magnets on the flywheel have not lost their magnetic charge, and that our condenser or capacitor, whatever this doodad here is working, we should be good to go. So I'm going to clean up the flywheel, get that back on the face, and see if we have spark. Man, that thing sure moves a whole bunch when the pistons don't. I wonder if this thing's blowed up. If it starts knocking like a Jehovah's Witness when we get it back together, we'll find out. How about that? I felt the slightest little jolt when I grounded my finger against the body. I think we have the beginnings, at least, of spark. Hopefully it'll get stronger, we'll see. Son of a, oh Jesus. All right, we got sparked. I don't know why it just suddenly started working right there, but whoo, at least one of the 2 cylinders does. So let's get the spark plugs back in, get a little fuel and oil down into it and see what happens.
Are you okay?
Oh yeah, I just got shocked, it's fine.
Oh. I forgot what I was gonna say. Goodbye.
Alright, went down to the hardware store, got some 2-cycle oil, and this nut, which is going to grip this a lot better. There we go. See if we get a visual on spark. We've got spark in both cylinders, so let's go ahead and put this together and get a little fuel in there and see if it'll make some noise. A little time on the wire wheel has given us a nice clean spark plug. So we'll go ahead and thread that guy back in there. Not too worried about oiling these cylinders because they move excellent. So I think we can just go ahead and throw a little WD-40 and gas down this little prime port right here and go ahead and see if anything happens. Something flammable and something slippery. The slippery in there. Here it goes. Oh, right in the eyes. Okay, I learned. You have to put this back on. Come on, girl. What's all this water coming out over here for? So I just realized I totally forgot to put this on. So I got that installed now. I'm gonna spin this over with a drill since it's a little easier on cast iron. Nothing. Oh, a little bit of life coming out of her. Come on, girl. I assume that's it running out of fuel. I think we had her flooded out pretty well. It's not quite as easy as just like hit it and go, because I have to mess with the fuel mixture by adjusting the air input. One more try and then we'll move on to cleaning out our gas tank and putting actual fuel in. Oh no. Now Now it's just the quest to make it run a lot of it. Son of a bitch. God, I was so careful not to do that too. Alright, so at this point we're running out of those luxury items like options and time. And I still don't want to give up on this motor, even though this crank is now all hecked up. So I've ground this flat. I'm going to try to drill and tap the inside of this cast crank and still get a bolt to hold that outer wheel on. We've moved on from constructivity to damage control. At this point it's just about not throwing this thing away and preserving a piece of history. Alright, I drilled the center of our crank out to 17/64, and I'm currently tapping it with a 5/16 fine thread tap. So far, so good. This is working really well. Come on, little buddy, you can do it. Just keep going. I believe in you. I think that's it. I think I actually did it. I think I successfully drilled and tapped the end of this crank. Okay, trials and tribulations have concluded, and we have a bolt that we can thread into the end of our crank. Let's get this all reassembled, figure out a way to crank it from the other side, and try this again. Oh, a little bit of smoke. A little more smoke. Oh. Put it on the floor and do it like we're supposed to. How about that?
Oh, that's a good idea. Woo.
There you go. I hate to do laundry this way.
Yeah, that's what's.
Probably ran better back in 1940.
I just hate doing laundry.
Fair. We have potential here. That's the first time it's kind of ran. Okay, so everything here seems to be working. Our flywheel didn't fly off. We're good to move on to the next step, which is cleaning this disgusting fuel tank. All right, I've mixed those up, a single gallon of 2-stroke gasoline. I'm gonna put just a bit in there, more than that. More than that, there we go. I'm going to use that to try to flush out the bottom of that basin. Now, I have no idea what kind of apparatus this used to pull fuel up into the crankcase, and I have no idea if it's going to be any good. Hopefully it's old enough that it's a nice big clearance, a nice big orifice, and it doesn't just get full of goo and stop. Oh, hi Coda, how are you? Hi puppy. Hello. Hello puppy. Fly away. Alright, we've done a couple flushes. It's time to put some gas in this thing and see what actually happens. Are you ready?
Yep.
We fixed the kickstart, fixed my mistake on the flywheel. We've restored spark to the motor, flushed out the tank, reinstalled the little air valve ordeal. And it's finally time to see if this old 1940 Maytag 72 is going to sputter to life. The first kick. The first kick. I don't know if it's going to pull from the base, but that was probably what was in the crankcase.
Yeah.
Oh, apparently it's just done now.
hope your laundry's done.
That might have been like the last charge of our magneto or something. That was a very abrupt stop that I did not touch anything for. I can't believe that ran.
That was awesome.
Like that was the easiest first start I've ever had for a small engine. I think we lost spark mookers.
Yeah. Got lost mookers too.
Oh, just coming back around. Come on. That is pretty damn cool. Get all the steel wool out of the flywheel there. Check that out. Now we got her cleaned up too. Well, that's the first time I have ever even probably encountered one of these in person, and we were able to get it running with just a touch of drama. I think that is pretty damn cool. You want to fire it up for us again, Mook? Oh, one more, then she'll go.
That's the coolest small engine I've ever worked on.
Yeah, that thing's awesome. All right, so thank you guys very much for joining us on this odd, weird, quick episode of Junkyard Digs. Despite being that quick and easy, there was some drama, and we made it through it by being creative and finding alternate solutions to problems.
And deep breathing.
And a couple beers. In the end, we find ourselves with a 1940 Maytag 72D that came out of the barn and is running once again. So we'll give it back to Jed. He's gonna do whatever he does to it. Probably put a turbo on it, some nitrous, new diesel injectors. I don't know. I'm sure that'll probably actually end up as something that sits in the corner of the shop and he goes and kicks once in a while just to hear run. And speaking of his shop, if you guys need any diesel work done, Central Iowa Diesel Performance is hands down where you need to go. They run a top-notch diesel shop and always send you home whistling and smiling. If you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure you leave a comment below saying that you did, and we'll try to seek out some more of the small engine stuff. It's quick, it's easy, and I can do it on busy weeks. Plus, it kind of broadens our horizons to whole new knowledge bases. I didn't know a damn thing about that thing this morning, and here we got one running. I think that is pretty cool. And of course, make sure you guys check out Junkyard Mook. She's gonna have that Nova out next week, working on that badass mobile. If you enjoyed the content you saw here today, make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like. We'll see you next week for hopefully another car revival here on Junkyard Digs. Peace.